Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Giridharidhari Yashodanandana Prajānāti Yashodanandana Prajānāti Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Giridharidhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Giridharidhari Yashodanandana Prajānāti Yashodanandana Prajānāti Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnuvad Paramahamsa Parivrajacacharya Stota Sat Shri Srimati's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sisi Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Braj Bhumi Vrindavan Dama Ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dama Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dama Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Yamuna Maya Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Go Premanande Hari Hari. All glories to the Asimuravaris, Hare Krishna. All glories to the Asimuravaris, Hare Krishna. All glories to the Asimuravaris, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Sri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna everybody. Welcome to today's class. Today we're reading from Bhagavad-Gita as it is, chapter number 18, the perfection of renunciation, and slokas number 31 and 32. So 32 is the one with the purport. So I'll just read 31 and then we can recite 32 together. Yayā dharmam adharmaṁ ca kāryaṁ cākāryam eva ca ayathā-vat prajānāti buddhiḥ pārtha rājasī. O son of Pṛthā, that understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, is in the mode of passion. Number 32. Adharmam dharman iti ya manyate tamasāvrita sarvartan viparitamscha buddhiḥ pārtha tamasi. Adharmam dharman iti ya manyate tamasāvrita sarvartan viparitamscha buddhiḥ pārtha tamasi. Adharmam dharman iti ya manyate tamasāvrita sarvartan viparitamscha buddhiḥ pārtha tamasi. Adharmam dharman iti ya manyate tamasāvrita sarvatam viparitamscha buddhiḥ pārtha tamasi.
adharmam dharmamitiya
adharman dharmanitiya
manyate tamasavrita
manyate tamasavrita
sarvarthan viparitamsa
sarvartan viparitamscha
buddhi saparthatamasi
lisa partatamasi adharman dharmanitiya manyate tamasavrita sarvartan viparitamscha buddhi sapartatamasi
dharmam dharmam itya
dharman dharmanitiya
manyate tamas avrita
manyate tamasavrita
sarvarthan viparitamscha
sarvartan viparitamscha
disa partha tamasi
buddhi sapartatamasi adharman irreligion dharmam religion iti thus ya which manyate thinks tamasa by illusion avrita covered sarva arathan all things viparitan in the wrong direction cha also buddhiḥ intelligence sa that pārtha O son of Pṛthā tamasi in the mode of ignorance. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness and strives always in the wrong direction, O Pṛthā, is in the mode of ignorance. Please repeat. That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the illusion and darkness and strives always in the wrong direction, O Pṛthā, is in the mode of ignorance. Purport. Intelligence in the mode of ignorance is always working the opposite way of what it should. It accepts religions which are not actually religions and rejects actual religion. Men in ignorance understand a great soul to be a common man and accept a common man as a great soul. They think truth to be untruth and accept untruth as truth. In all activities, they simply take the wrong path. Therefore, their intelligence is in the mode of ignorance. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyaham Sri Guruho Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane nirvishesha shunyavadi paschatya deshatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yayā dharman dharman cha kāryam eva cha ayathā-vat prajānāti buddhiḥ pārtha rājasī adharmam iti ya manyate tamasā vrita sarvartan viparitams buddhiḥ pārtha tamasi. O son of Pṛthā, that understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, between action that should be done and action that should be not done, is in the mode of passion. That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion, under the spell of illusion and darkness, always strives in the wrong direction, is the mode of ignorance. So here Krishna is continuing his very elaborate explanation of the different features that are involved in action. So we know that in the Bhagavad-Gita, this 18th chapter is the summary of the Bhagavad-Gita, what's been covered so far. So one devotee called Gauranga Priya Prabhu, who did some Bhagavad-Gita notes which you can download from ISKCON, has explained how this 18th chapter first summarizes karma and in talking about renunciation and sannyas. In the second section he summarizes jnana. That's up to text number 18, where he gives the 5 factors of action. And then in the section that we're in now, from 19 up to 40, he analyzes as being a summary of the yoga ladder, and continuing on it as well. So 18 to 40 is about karma yoga. From 41 to 48 is taking us past sakam karma yoga to nishkam karma yoga, where Krishna introduces varnashram system and the different varnas and ashramas. So by regulated activities, we can give up the results, the fruits of our activities, and we can come to nishkam karma yoga, which means it's without our personal desire. Then after that, from 49 to 55, Krishna takes us from nishkam karma yoga to devotional service on the Brahman platform. After that he comes to pure devotional service and then to surrender. So we're in this description of the karma yoga, of the yoga ladder. Krishna had explained the 5 factors of action, and this particular part we're going through to try and deeply understand how the modes of nature affect these 5 factors of action and the different things that are involved. So today we're talking about buddhi, which is translated as understanding and is sometimes translated as intelligence. So this is one of the things that drives us towards action, because from buddhi we will derive knowledge, and from knowledge this is directly one of the factors of action. So according to our knowledge, it'll determine what action we decide to take. So just have a quick look at some previous verses which talk about some of these things. So beginning to talk about understanding, Krishna had said in 29, I will tell you in detail different kinds of understanding and determination. And in 30 he talked, which is yesterday's verse, he talked about understanding in the mode of goodness. One knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared. So in the purport to yesterday's verse, Srila Prabhupada had described how performing actions in the terms of the directions of the scriptures is called pravriti, or executing actions that deserve to be formed. One who does not know the scriptural directions, therefore, becomes entangled in work. So there's a necessity to know the scriptural directions. But we're going to look at some more things related to this, how actually the modes of nature that cover us determine what we understand, even if we try to understand the scriptures. If we're under a particular mode of nature, our understanding will be of a particular type. So in 1823, Krishna had said, action which is regulated, performed without attachment, is in goodness. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that these regulated occupational duties prescribed in the scriptures according to different orders and divisions of society are in the mode of goodness. So this is our regulated life. It comes from coming into the following the orders of the scriptures according to Varna Ashram, particularly for those who are engaged in work. So this is Sakam Karma Yoga. After that, then Krishna will advise us to give up some of this work. But first we have to become regulated so that we can become purified. In 1826, Krishna talks about how the worker works with determination and enthusiasm. So this is where this understanding becomes important, because without this understanding, we cannot come to arrive at what to do. Now I wanted to have a look at Krishna's stressing in yesterday's verse, how according to the directions of the scriptures is what we should be following to get to the mode of goodness. So this comes in many, many places. It comes in 6th canto, described by the Yamadutas, when they're challenged by the Vishnu Dutas. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? If you're working under the guidance of a superior, you must know what you're doing and why you're doing. So the Yamadutas answer, Veda pranihito dharmo yad dharmas tadviparyaya Vedo narayana sakshad swayambhu iti shrushramu. The Yamadutas reply to the Vishnu Dutas, that which is prescribed in the Vedas constitutes dharma, the religious principles, and the opposite of that is irreligion. The Vedas are directly the Supreme Personality God Narayan and are self-born. We have heard this from Yamaraj. And then when the Yamadutas go back to Yamaraj, then Yamaraj says another very similar verse in 3rd chapter of the 6th canto. Dharman tu sakshad bhagavat pranitam savai vidur rishayo napadevaha na siddha mukhya asura manushya kuto nuvidyadara charanadayaha. Religious principles are enacted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And even the rishis and the topmost people from Siddhaloka, Vidyadharas and Charanas cannot ascertain the religious principles. So we want to know the religious principles. We must take them directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative. And what's described in the Vedas is nicely concluded in the Bhagavatam. In the beginning of the Bhagavatam, it is said, Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo niramat saranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamune Krite Kim Va Parer Ishvaraha Sadyo Hridya Varujyate Tra Kritibi Sushushibish Tat Kshanat. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are material or motivated, this Bhagavad-Gita propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. So in order to come to a proper understanding, here Krishna is describing understanding and goodness, passion and ignorance, but we actually want to even rise beyond goodness to get the spiritual truth. So here in this verse 112, it's also said the highest truth is understandable by those devotees who are pure in heart. So in order to come to the correct understanding of the knowledge, we have to become pure in heart. So the Bhagavatam is the culmination of this knowledge that we hope to achieve by our correct understanding. In the 7th canto, 15th chapter, Narada Muni is explaining instructions for civilized human beings. So in chapters 11 through 14, Narada Muni has explained to Yudhisthira the different varnas and ashramas and how one should behave in the different varnas and ashramas. And this 15th chapter, which is the last chapter of the 7th canto, Narada Muni is explaining, he's concluding with instructions for everybody in all varnas and ashrams. So there's a few verses I'm going to read out. Particularly here is being described what is adharma, because here in today's verses we're talking about adharma as well as dharma. In the mode of passion, the person does not know what is dharma and what is adharma. And in the mode of ignorance, they take dharma for adharma and adharma for dharma. So 7:15-12 says, Vidharma paradharmascha abhas upamachalaha adharma shaka panchema dharma gyo dharmavat tyajet. So it's describing different types of irreligion. There are 5 branches of irreligion. So we're going to get this in the next verse as well, so we'll get a full explanation. Appropriately known as irreligion, which is called vidharma. Religious principles for which one is unfit, which is called paradharma. Basically means it's for somebody else, from somebody else. Pretentious religion, abhas. So abhas means a dim twilight. So it looks like religion, but it's not really. Analogical religion, upadharma, and cheating religion, chaladharma. One who is aware of real religious life must abandon these 5 as irreligious. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, any religious principles opposed to the principle of surrendering to the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, are considered to be religious principles of irregularity or cheating, and one who is actually interested in religion must give them up. So this is confirming that second verse, Daima Projita Kaitavotra, and also our 1866 verse, Sarvadam Dharmam Parichaja. We must give up all these other types of dharmas. One should simply follow the instructions of Krishna and surrender to him. To do this, of course, one needs very good intelligence. One needs good buddhi, which we're talking about today, which may be awakened after many, many births through good association with devotees and the practice of Krishna consciousness. So here Prabhupada is stressing, we awaken our good intelligence after many, many births through good association with devotees and the practice of Krishna consciousness. Everything but the principle of religion recommended by Krishna, sarva dharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja, should be given up as a religion. The following verse further describes these different types of irreligion. Religious principles that obstruct one from following his own religion are called vidharma. Religious principles introduced by others are called paradharma. A new type of religion created by one who is falsely proud and who opposes the principles of the Vedas is called upadharma. An interpretation by one's jugglery of words is called chaladharma, which was cheating religion. So Prabhupada is expanding further on these cheating types of religion in his purport and describing similar to what he's describing in today's purport. To create a new type of dharma has become fashionable in this age. So-called swamis and yogis support that one may follow any type of religious system according to one's own choice, because all systems are ultimately the same. In Srimad Bhagavatam, however, such fashionable ideas are called vidharma, because they go against one's own religious system. The real religious system is described by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. The real religious system is that of surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord. In the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in connection with Ajamal's deliverance, Yamaraj says, Dharman tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Real religion is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just as real law is that which is given by the government. No one can manufacture actual law at home, nor can one manufacture actual religion. Elsewhere it is said, it's 126, Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshaje. The real religious system is that which leads one to become a devotee of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, anything opposed to this religious system of progressive Krishna consciousness is called vidharma, paradharma, upadharma, or chaladharma. Misinterpretation of the Bhagavad-Gita is called chaladharma. When Krishna directly says something and some rascal interprets it to mean something different, this is chaladharma, a religious system of cheating, shabda beat, jugglery of words. One should be extremely careful to avoid these types of cheating religious system. Okay. So it's very clearly said, what is religion? That which is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that which he has described in the Vedas. In Mahabharata, Yudhisthira Maharaj was asked by the Yaksha, what is intelligence? It doesn't say that. No, I've written something down here wrong. Oh, no, yeah, sorry, I've written it down wrong here. Yudhisthira Maharaj was asked, who is one's friend? And Yudhisthira Maharaj replied, one's friend is intelligence. Krishna also says in the Bhagavad-Gita that the mind can be one's best friend or one's worst enemy. And intelligence is that which helps us to discriminate what we come to know about. So we see something, our intelligence will discriminate whether it's good for us, whether it's bad for us, we should follow it or we should reject it. intelligence is coming from the super soul. Sorry, my memory's getting old. Sarvasya chaham ridi sanivishtu mata smatir jnanam apohanam cha vedaista sevair aham eva veja vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. So Krishna says, I'm situated in anyone's heart. So he's talking about the super soul. The super soul, from me comes remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. So this intelligence which leads to knowledge is coming from the super soul. And the super soul is the reservoir of intelligence. So we connect with the reservoir of intelligence, with the super soul, by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So if we don't connect with this transcendental knowledge, if we remain covered by these three modes of nature, then even if we're sitting in this class here, we're listening to transcendental knowledge, what actually is going to be understood by us is filtered by the false ego according to the modes of nature we're in. So if we're in the modes of nature and not beyond the modes of nature, we will only understand material knowledge. We can even understand personally ourselves that every time we read Srila Prabhupada's books, we learn something new because our filter is slowly being removed. So when we first read it, we pick up some very nice things, but we don't understand it all. And the next time we read it, we understand a little more. So as our Chaito Darpana Marjanam, as by the process of hearing and chanting, our consciousness is becoming cleansed. So therefore, the filter of our ego is being removed and we're understanding more and more. I was listening to one class yesterday. It was talking about when you have a child, one of the samskars is to pierce the ear. So the Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj, he was telling that this samskar to pierce the ear is not actually about piercing the ear. The samskar to pierce the ear is about removing this covering of false ego so that we can hear transcendental knowledge. So this is samskar. I think he said it was called Karma Veda samskar. And as a young child, it's done by piercing the ear. But it's also the same meaning as given in the Diksha ceremony. That's also a samskar which is meant to uncover the modes of nature so we can receive transcendental knowledge. But to receive this transcendental knowledge, we have to try and come out of the modes of nature. We have to come past them, especially the modes of ignorance and passion. But even the mode of goodness by itself doesn't get us to the transcendental platform. We can still get caught up and bound by the mode of goodness because we get satisfied with our knowledge. We don't strive to go further. So, in order to understand the transcendental knowledge properly, we have to receive it through a pure devotee, through the spiritual master, and through the spiritual master is non-different from Krishna, and other spiritual masters, Siksha Gurus, are also non-different. Guru Tattva is one, and there are not different Gurus, it's all one Guru Tattva. The fact that Krishna is non-different seeing the Guru as non-different from Krishna is also described in many places. We sing in Garvastakam, Sakshad Dharitvena Samasta Shastriya. Says in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying Samasta Shastriya. In all the Shastras it is declared that Krishna and Guru are non-different. So just a couple of quotes here. One is also in the same 15th chapter that I was quoting from about irreligion. There's a verse there. This is Krishna talking to Uddhava. This is the next one is Krishna talking. This one is Narada Muni. And speaking to Yudhishthira, Yasya sakshad bhagavati jnana deepa praday guru maratya sad di shutam tasya sarvam kunja sochava. Spiritual master should be considered to be directly the Supreme Lord because he gives transcendental knowledge for enlightenment. Consequently, one who maintains the material conception that a spiritual master is an ordinary human being is very frustrated. His enlightenment and his Vedic studies and knowledge are like the bathing of an elephant. So this is our third offense in the chanting of the holy name, to consider Guru to be an ordinary person. One who considers Guru to be an ordinary person, his enlightenment and his Vedic studies and his knowledge are like the bathing of an elephant. In other words, they won't come to any proper conclusion. They become worthless. The elephant goes to take bath in a very nice bath in the river, puts water all over himself. But as soon as he comes out, he throws dust all over himself. So that's also described by Shukadev to Parikshit in the beginning of the 6th canto, before the story of Ajamal, how atonement is also like the bathing of an elephant. I think there's something in this purport. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada's purport for this one. It is recommended that one honor the spiritual master as being on an equal status with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sakshad Dharitvena Samasta Shastri is enjoined in every scripture. Ākāryam mam vijaniyat. One should consider the Acharya to be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that being quoted there, we also have that verse. That's in the 11th canto, 17th chapter, 27th verse. Krishna talking to Uddhava. Acharyam mam vijaniyan nava manyeta karhichit namarja buddhya suyeta sarvadeva maya guruhu. One should know that the Acharya as myself and never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking to be an ordinary man, for he is the representative of all the demigods. So this is described, as it says in all scriptures, Samasta Shastri. It's very important. If we see the spiritual master as an ordinary human being, then what that means is that we're only using we're under the material covering of the modes of nature, and whatever we learn, even though we're learning from the spiritual master, is going to be using our material understanding, our material intelligence. It will only lead to material knowledge. So if we want to get spiritual knowledge, we have to respect the spiritual master as being equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's another example that is given by Bhakti-Vigyan Swami in this class I was listening to yesterday and today. He gave the example of how receiving knowledge from the spiritual master is like a calf receiving milk from the cow. This example is also given in the beginning of the Bhagavad-Gita, just at the end of the introduction, where Arjuna is being described as the calf. Just find it. In Gita Mahatmya, Sarvo Panishado Govo Dogda Gopalanandanaha Parto Vatsa Sudhir Bhakta Dugdam Gitamritam Maha. Gita Upanishad Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all scriptures. It's like a cow. Lord Krishna, as a famous cowherd boy, is milking this cow. Arjuna is like the calf, and learned scholars and pure devotees drink the nectarian milk of this Bhagavad Gita. So this analogy that Bhakti-Vigyan Swami gave is a little different. He's saying that the cow is like the spiritual master, and the calf is like the disciple. So he brings out 3 points which are very important for us to remember. He says for the calf to get milk from its mother, it must go down onto its knees because the udder is hanging very low. So in a similar way, a disciple has to become humble if he wants to receive transcendental knowledge. He says that if the calf wants to get the mother to let down milk, he gently nods his head against the mother's udder to encourage her to let down her milk. He says this is like the disciple who will encourage the spiritual master to reveal to him by asking sincere, relevant questions. And number 3, he says when this calf starts to grow his little horns on his head, then when he starts butting his mother and asking for milk, actually the little horns hurt his mother. So the mother stops giving milk and says, okay, you can go away and eat grass now. So Bhakti-Vigyan Maharaj said, therefore the disciple must be very, very careful not to grow these horns, which are the horns of pride. We've gained some knowledge, so we become a little proud. We're still asking the questions of the spiritual master, but we think we already know the answer, and we're just checking things out like that. So this is signifying that we've developed some pride, and we think we're still going to get something. The spiritual master, like the mother cow, says, go away, you can do your own thing. So it's very important that we don't develop this pride in our knowledge or in our advancement. We always remain humble before the spiritual master. So one class I was listening to while preparing for this class today said that what we should learn out of this is that people are acting in the mode of ignorance and passion because of ignorance, and we should try and help them. But that's also true. But we also need to be careful for ourselves that if we're still covered by these modes filtering the knowledge we hear, even though we're sitting in the class and listening, even though we're asking the spiritual master, then we won't receive transcendental knowledge either. We will receive only the material part of the knowledge. We'll think we become very advanced because we've learnt slokas and we've learnt to quote shastras and acharyas and all sorts of things. But if we don't maintain this proper attitude to be humble, to ask sincere questions, and to never develop the pride in our knowledge, we'll just be getting dry philosophical speculation. We'll think we're great, very grand, but we'll just be academic knowledge. So that's mainly what's coming out of this. Krishna is describing different things that inspire our action. The next one after this is about determination. Understanding and determination help to inspire us to act. As part of our, the last verse I talked about the motivators of action. So this is one of the motivators of action. So we'll stop this class here. If anyone has any comments or questions from this class, please let us know. Okay. Good. All right. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo Antakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai.